how's everybody doing? This is Jonathan with Roof King. We just got on top of this office building and we just thought that we'd show you what we look for on an inspection. This roof's only about 10 years old. It's an architectural roof, so we're just doing an inspection for routine maintenance, what's wrong with it, if it's improper install, or if there's any storm damage up here. I got some chalk in my hands and Cody's just gonna follow me around with the camera and I'm just gonna circle some things and explain to you guys what I see. So we just got off the ladder, taking a first look at it. You can see there's some wear and tear on these shingles. That's obviously what you're gonna see about 10 years. Some of this though is what you consider mechanical damage, like this right here, this streak right here. And mechanical damage is when a different subject hits the roof besides elements such as rain or hail or wind. So let's say somebody's equipment, or maybe when they were installing the roof, their shoes, they weren't wearing the proper cougar paws, let's say, heat. Because of the heat, it can cause the shingles to wear tear faster, definitely when they're doing an install. And then right here, this is a huge piece of mechanical damage, and you can tell also by all the fibers how it's worn down to the bottom of the shingle. And that's where somebody hit it, and that asphalt just wore down over time. See a little part too right here, and that shingle's a little bit, looks like it's ripped right there. Then you got another mechanical mark, but this is just typical. Doesn't mean that they got to replace the roof, but it's just good to know that it's up here. And then right here, you can even see it's dipping in a little bit. And that could be a part of plywood that was rotten. We'd have to get in the attic, take a look. But also on older structures like this, they sometimes start to settle and the frame of the house can get a little off, or it's got older plywood on it that's sunk in a little bit. And that's causing that look to happen right there. And also sometimes the fascia right here is not installed correctly. Sometimes they can install it not even, or they can install it a little bit higher or lower on one side than the other, which makes it stick up. Come over here real quick and check this vent out. Always like to take chalk and rub it on the top to look for hail. There's a couple hail dents actually on this vent. You can see one right there where that little circle, the chalk doesn't actually cover it up. And there's another one right there, but that one's not that big. But that one you could actually argue to the insurance company. You're looking for things that are about a quarter. You can also come down here and check this out. We got one small one right here. There's not that many. There's not many on this roof. Here you got another mechanical mark. Another mechanical mark right here. You come to this side, I saw a couple marks that you could maybe argue as hail. See exactly where I found them at. But like this one, this is on top of the ridge. Some would say you could argue that as hail, and it might have been. You can feel the back of the shingle to see if it impacted. This is the top of the ridge, so you can't get underneath these without pulling them up. But typically that's not. The reason is, I'll just show you real quick. If we do a 10 by 10 foot test square, you're gonna look for some form of a pattern. Hail damage is gonna have a pattern to it. And if you were to try to draw 10 heads, and this is probably not exactly 10 foot, I just rough-eyed it instead of measuring it out, you can see that there's no pattern. You got like maybe one right here. They could argue hail, but it's right on the corner of the shingle, so most likely mechanical. And then right above it looks like a foot mark, so probably be hard to argue to the insurance company. And then right next to it, you have all these mechanical marks, so this isn't something we would want to argue with the insurance company. This is just typical wear and tear. We let the customer know about it. We'd write up a report with all, our pictures and what we find, just like this PVC boot, where they got some caulk on it, but it's starting to come undone. And just typical things they need to do for a maintenance package. But they still got some life on this roof. If you come here, you can see that their power attic vent's cracked. Their fan, which probably was just reused when the other roofer installed the roof. Maybe the owner was trying to save money, or the other roofer just didn't bring it up to him. And it also looks like, if you look right here, there's some counter flashing underneath here where they might have put some new, this is probably the old actually flashing from the siding, but instead of replacing it, they just ran shingles on top of it to cover up what was already there. Mechanical marks all over this ridge cap, and a lot of that you can just tell on the ridges, they just didn't cut them perfectly, and there's a little bit of a crooked pattern to it on these ridges on the hips, so that means that probably the guys probably didn't, install it as best. You see there's nails all over the roof that were rusted. Some of these are probably nail pops that have come out, but a lot of them are probably from the old roof when they just never blew it off good enough, and over the years that rain and stuff has just washed on it, and it's finally starting to wash it away on the roof. So yeah, if you just keep looking at this roof, you'll see mechanical marks everywhere. Right here. So they also reused the old dryer vents. You can tell by how rusted they are. This screen's coming out of this one. That's really bad. You have to make sure you replace these. This can be a fire hazard, so we'll let the customer know about that. Yeah, we'll come up here and stick it back in for them. But yeah, that one right there doesn't have its screen either. You gotta make sure you replace dryer vents on every roof. You can't reuse them. A lot of roofers do it, but you can't. It's gonna cause an issue down the road. See, and then you can see this other side of this gable where they didn't replace this counter flashing. Same thing they did over there instead of covering it up. And they just put new nail heads in it. They didn't even, cover it up. There's holes in it right here. Everywhere you see it being rusted out at, that's where there's a hole at. So we definitely need to get that addressed. That's gonna be an area of a leak. Then right here you have a shingle that's torn. That right there is probably not leaking currently, but you get a hard sideways rain from a hurricane or something bad, definitely running off this peak right here, or running off this edge, you're definitely gonna get a leak that comes in right there. There's probably some rotten plywood or something underneath there. Got a cracked piece of wrench cap. Somebody came up there and maybe tried to do a repair, put some caulk on it. We'll bring that up in their report in case the customer wants to get it addressed. And then gutter guards are obviously really good because you see this person's got a lot of leaks in their gutter that's going to cause the fascia possibly to get rotted out and cause leaks from it overflowing and not draining properly. So those are definitely some things that need to get addressed. And you can see all these mechanical marks, and if you look at these tree branches, they probably at one point were hitting the roof and caused a little bit of damage. Yeah, typical 10-year-old architectural roof that should look a little bit better than this. It just looks this way from the, not having the best installation, and then also just the elements such as the trees and the weather that we've had. It just caused a little bit more wear and tear in this area. But they got some life on it. We'll give them the report, but just thought we'd share this with you. Thank you.